Good afternoon, everyone. Today's webinar topic is the transition from remote to hybrid work environments. Before we get started, I have just a couple housekeeping items to go over for everyone. My name is Dan. I'll be the webinar organizer today. I want to make sure today's presentation is extremely valuable for you, so we ask that you submit all questions by clicking on the question button in the control panel and typing in your question. Our presenters today are Vanessa Carter, CEO and founder of OneView Communications; Julie Gable, Finance and Operations Manager of OneView Communications; Nick Madsen, Vice President, Channel Sales of Broadvoice; and Alan Kaplan, Regional Channel Manager of Broadvoice. Our presenters will outline industry trends related to moving back to full-time in-office work versus putting time in a hybrid environment, and how having the right communications and collaboration solution is critical to navigating the hybrid work world. So with that, I'm going to turn over our presentation today to Julie Gable.
Thank you, Dan. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you all have received your DoorDash meals and you're enjoying that while you're sitting back for the next hour with us. What I wanted to do is just go through our agenda real quick. First, we'll be starting off with telling you a bit about OneView Communications, which is where Vanessa and I are, where we work from. And also then we'll be telling you a bit about Broadvoice, and that's where Nick and Alan will be coming from. From there, we'll be going through industry trends as they relate to hybrid environments and hold on one second, there we go, and how they would relate to you. Then Vanessa will be taking some time just to give you an idea of some of our customer cases and hearing how we've helped them solve some of their unique challenges. And once we get through that, we'll have a Q&A session. We welcome any and all questions from you. And then we've got a great special limited time offer that we're going to review, offered just to those that are watching and attending today. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Vanessa and let her talk to you about OneView Communications. Oops, hold on one second, sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Welcome everyone to our webinar for the transition from remote to hybrid work environments. Want to talk about OneView Communications. Again, my name is Vanessa Carter, CEO of OneView Communications. We are a technology solutions provider, and what that means is that we design customized solutions for all of our business clients. We provide voice and data solutions, cloud solutions in the commercial space, and we do that and provide all of our resources to our commercial. We do not offer any consumer services. We know that all businesses are different. We do not take a cookie cutter approach to any of our clients. We know that there is no one size to fit all for businesses. And I think that's what differentiates us in the industry, is because we take that approach to all of our customers to customize services that are unique to their business needs, because all businesses are different. And I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read our mission statement, because it speaks to who we really are. And our mission statement is this, excuse me, to provide each customer with a custom, reliable, and cost-effective telecommunications solution, while ensuring an exceptional customer experience that far exceeds their expectations. I say that because that is what we do when we keep that in mind working with our customers. We also keep that in mind as we decide who we partner with. We partner with vendors and partners who are in alignment with that mission statement. And Broadvoice is in total alignment with that. We've worked with them for a number of years, and they're in alignment with our mission statement to help deliver services to our clients. I think the other thing that differentiates OneView Communications from our competitors is that we support them. We hold their hands through everything from A to Z. We offer support 24/7 by 365. we bend over backwards and we provide support for things that we don't even provide. Excuse me. So we provide scalable solutions. And I think in transitioning from remote to hybrid, the scalable solutions are very important simply because it allows you to scale up, to scale down as your business needs change. And as we've seen over the last 18 months, the needs of each business has changed, unforeseen to any of us. So I think, let me see where I'm sorry, I'm trying to read without my glasses. So in providing the solutions that are built to scale and grow the business, our solutions evolve as your business needs evolve, so that there's no risk to your original investment should your needs change today, tomorrow, or a year from now. We will work with you to provide any assistance that you need, again, to scale up and down using a flexible solution. Next.
So then we'll be moving over to Alan, talking to us about Broadvoice.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alan Kaplan. Everybody calls me Cap. And welcome and thank you for coming. And Vanessa and Julie, thank you as well. So a little bit of information about Broadvoice, and I want to put you guys in a comfort zone. We started in 1996. We're located in Northridge, California. And we were a pager and a DSL company. And as we grew in 2006, we bought a company called Broadvoice out of Boston, Massachusetts, and we took over their residential play for them. And we turned it into an enterprise group for business, especially in the technology arena that OneView is in as well. The idea behind it was, we know that there's a group which I call the Forgotten 500, and that's companies that aren't dealing only with the Comcast and the AT&Ts of the world. We wanted to be more of a hands-on approach and working with people like Vanessa's group that do a hands-on approach with customers. There's something Vanessa knows that I say to everybody that we ever talk to, is that you'll have I work with a team, a project sales manager and a sales engineer as well, and you can have my home phone number, because should something go wrong and it's a Friday night and you call our customer care that's located in the United States 24/7, that you may not get the answer you thought you should have, you can call me even if it's a Friday night, because if you're being polite to me and waiting till Monday to talk to me and then you're aggravated, I remind people of this conversation very quickly. The idea for us is that we took the residential play, turned it into business, and over the past since 2006 grew it into over 200,000 users on the system. In fact, getting close to 300,000 users within the system. We own the system from top to bottom. It's within our data centers. We have 4 of them around the country. If you need to know those, Vanessa and I can talk to you on a later point on that. But the idea behind it is that because we owned it, we could make the changes quickly and ease seamlessly with you, as well as give you a hands-on approach to that as well. All right. One of the nice things, and I think if you're looking at this, the CSAT scores were real important to us, because in the industry, I believe it's 87%, and it's where customer service satisfaction is important. And I know everybody talks about customer service and that theirs is the best. I believe my competition is very good at what they do, and they help create us. Just that in order for us to be different, it was to do this hands-on approach with people like Vanessa's group. I do want to tell you that Vanessa also sits on our advisory board, and we thought it was important to working with people like Vanessa and her group, that we had the input from her and her customers. In the past 12 months, I may even go beyond that all the way, I think, till January of last year, we've had 100% uptime on that as well. So our movement has been that we've expanded into not only the hosted VoIP world. We don't sell anything but that, although we do an SD-WAN play that works within the system. We do integrate with Microsoft Teams. So, but our main focus is to stay into the hosted VoIP world. And it's real important for us because I myself have been with companies that they sell everything. I became a person who knew a lot about a little instead of knowing a lot about just one thing. With that, thank you very much for having me, and I will move on.
Well, okay, coming on over. So we're going to be moving over to Nick now. Hold on one
All right.
second.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Kat, for sharing. And of course, thanks, Vanessa, Julie, and the GCP for having us all. We're going to dive in here and talk about some of those industry trends related to hybrid work environments, and most importantly, how they relate to your organizations, those of you that decided to join and have some time with us today. So if you want to move on to the next slide. So one of my roles here at Broadvoice, I do lead a sales team, but a key part of the role that I have today is keep tabs on market trends, right? And when the pandemic hit, like it did for many other organizations, it kind of hit us all by surprise, right? We weren't really sure what to do. We weren't able to anticipate these trends and be able to bring them to the market quickly. A lot of organizations, including the technologies organizations that provide these communication and collaboration solutions, we had to move, and we had to move fast. And what we've seen throughout the last 18 months is, this pandemic was I think you see it right here on the screen, it's a global proof of concept, right? Over the last 10 years, a lot of conversations have been had around moving to the cloud, building out infrastructure, like having great internet across the board. There's a lot of security questions around cloud-based solutions. There's a lot of organizations that just weren't ready. They've made large investments. These last 18 months have been that proof of concept, and it was extremely successful. So now we start talking about, well, what do we do next, right? How do we go from making this immediate shift to, what is that new normal? What does that look like? And how does it look from a support standpoint? And what does it look like from your end as a commercial business? So we'll continue to dive into that throughout this, but I think that what we've seen over the last 18 months has been extremely positive, and the rush to work from home wherever that's applicable has just been an overall success. And so now it's that what's next step question. That new normal, as many people like to say, or as like some people even hate to say, is really our workplace reality for the foreseeable future. So we'll dive in a little bit about that. Next slide. And so while a lot of us, are a majority of the people out there in the world, right, we focused on the health emergency at hand, we all know that there's also been an economic crisis, right? From businesses not being able to function at all. Some businesses were able to function by working from home or doing a little bit of a mixture of both. It's really, I may be speaking from my own seat here, but cloud communications technologies have really been the unsung hero for a lot of those businesses, right? How do we get them to enable a new working model of working from home, or being able to take your business and get it into the cloud and being able to do e-commerce, right, versus having a storefront. So cloud-based communications, cloud-based technologies have really been the hero to help a lot of businesses stay afloat during these times. And while we're aware that the lockdowns did prompt many of those businesses to have to shut down permanently, the ones that were able to work from home, including communications, including video meetings and Zoom and even Facebook, things like that, it allowed things to just continue to move as best as possible. They allowed those businesses to survive, right? Communications are always going to be the one that's going to be our main talking point today, but you have to think about all the other technologies that are out there. CRM tools like Salesforce, Microsoft Office 365, and Microsoft Teams is a huge collaboration tool. A lot of call centers and cloud contact centers with remote agents being able to work from home. Text messaging has been through the roof lately. We actually have a text messaging solution that we'll talk about a little bit later. And just all these technologies have continued to grow and prove their worth throughout the last 18 months. When you look at what happened to us over the last year and a half, 10 years ago, the apps, the infrastructure, the cloud, it probably wasn't there. If this happened to us 10 years ago, the economic impact would have been significantly worse than what it was over the last year. So cloud really did come to the rescue for a lot of organizations. Next slide. So when we talk about that shift to the cloud, the move to work from home, work from anywhere, you see applications for a lot of organizations. We're shifting from on-premise or premise-based, having an appliance in the network closet somewhere in your building. They've been shifting from getting rid of that, throwing it in the dumpster and never looking back, and working to the cloud. So that way all you need is a good internet connection to have your solution working effectively. Prior to the pandemic, 23% of customers have adopted UCaaS, up to fewer than 12 in 2018. Now that we look at the last 18 months and moving in the future, through research and through a lot of analyst reports, 65% of organizations have said that they're going to adopt a cloud-based solution if they haven't already. So that's a huge shift over such a small period of time, and we're very excited about that. Next slide. So let's talk about what's important for you, right? What are the workplace trends? What's next in the remainder of 2021 and of course beyond, right? So what does that look like? As we start to see, a lot of organizations, especially some of the large ones, the return to office is becoming a heavy topic. I see it in the news all the time. I see it with some of our peers, some of our customers, our partners. They're going to include, depending on the organization and what the work requirement is, right? It's going to be hybrid working, a little bit of both, work from home, work from the office, maybe shared workspaces. Maybe some organizations might be ditching their investment in an office realty space entirely and investing in things like WeWork or just whatever shared working spaces there are out there in your local markets. The unified experiences that are always going to become are going to continue to become mandatory for a lot of organizations, right? How can you work from a desk in an office or from your laptop or desktop at home or mobilely, work from your mobile phone? And how can you have a clean, consistent experience across all those different devices? We are going to continue to shift into a digital-first strategy. It's going to be less about hardware and more about the internet. And of course, if you're any business that operates 24/7, you're going to need that always-on access, right? Maybe you run 2-3 shifts. Maybe you have e-commerce. It needs to be always on, always available, and always working. And with a lot of those items and working towards getting a cloud-based type solution, you also get a lot of really, really good data. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but the data is always important, especially when you talk about, running your business and finding out what's important to you, whether that's missed calls, missed orders, just whatever the case may be that helps you get data into making your workforce and your environment more efficient. So let's take a look at a few of these that I think you should care about, immediately today. Let's go to the next slide. So hybrid work, we just started talking about this. It's going to continue to heat up. Organizations have to understand what's going to be the best environment for their workforce, right? If you work at a supermarket, right, it's not going to be probably ideal that you have people working from home unless you're in management just running, your operational day-to-day, but you're going to need people in the store. So we look at this as it's definitely industry specific, but the reality is that 80% of employees will continue to work from home or have a little bit of a hybrid setup moving forward. Metrigy Research, a very well-known research company in our industry, they've told us based on the interviews that they've done, 21% of companies are going to expect, in-office work or work from home, a little bit of a mix, a hybrid approach, part-time or full-time. 36% of employees are going to have the choice of continuing to work from home, working in the office, or splitting time. So it's really nice giving those employees the flexibility that they need, so that way they can take care of their families or loved ones or just feel more comfortable and safe in their working environment. And really exciting, and this is what really shows the future of the workforce, is 38% say that they expect employees to remain full-time at home. So that's a huge jump from a couple of years ago where everybody was required to go in the office regardless of what position you had, right? So really, really excited about that. And the call to action here for you as a company, as an organization, is you really need to work to find a provider that can, enable this seamless work from anywhere, work from home, work from an office, work from your mobile device if you're traveling. And that requires having a UCaaS service. If you're not familiar with that term, it's Unified Communications as a Service. Things like phone calling abilities, video conferencing, collaboration, contact center, all of those things. You need to find a provider that can handle all of those for you. And that's what's going to be really important, both today and into the future. Next slide. And then the next part is really just talking about streamlining workflows, right? So when you talk about that rush from work to home businesses, it led businesses to adopt a wide variety of communications collaboration tools. A lot of organizations were rushing to find a quick solution. So it may have involved using a free trial or signing up for something for a month-to-month or a year-long platform because you weren't sure what to expect next. And that may have come at a detriment to your P&L, right? It may have cost you some extra money that you weren't ready to spend. So while that certainly may have fulfilled the immediate need, now that we're in, what I consider the bottom end of the slope, right? We're getting towards the bottom of this, hopefully, pandemic. We want to start to look at what's the future look like. So what does those future contracts look like? How much money are you spending? Was it one tool? Is it 4 tools? So in our opinion, you should be finding a provider that can do all of it, right? Usability, management, support, security is always a hot topic, especially with what you've seen in the news with hacking. You always want to make sure that you're working with a company that is secure. Looking at your total cost of ownership. Does it make sense to have 3 providers, or does it make sense to work with one? That way you can, have all of those bills thrown into one and get a discounted service because you're galloping those all together. So whatever that case looks like, you want to find a provider that can support those needs and give you the tools that you have to be successful within your specific, organization and whatever those industry needs are. Next slide. And then lastly, this is always really exciting. I know Cap can talk a little bit about this, but some of the shared workspace concepts are going to continue to grow and really spread. A lot of the trends that are growing today that we've seen, especially with some of our customer base, is things like hot desking. And if these terms aren't familiar, I'll run through a quick definition. But hot desking allows an employees to choose seats in an office on a first come, first served basis. With the help of OneView and Broadvoice, you can get a phone like you see on this slide, where you just press you press the hot desking button, you log in with your PIN code, whatever that digit is that you create with your team, and that can be your phone that calls your phone number. And then when you go to leave that shared workspace, that shared office desk, you just press the hot desking button again, and it goes back to being a blank phone. Things like desk hoteling or office hoteling allows the benefits of a flexible workspace, but you have to reserve it in advance. A lot of organizations are going through that now, so that way they can prepare people coming back to the office with a specific space rather than being first come, first serve. There are some other organizations that are doing activity-based working, which is really, let's say you've got a sales and a marketing, part of the office or a business function. You maybe put the sales in one section, the marketing in another, and whoever wants to come in based on those hybrid dates that they choose, they have a specific area that they can work out of and see those familiar faces of their peers, of their partners, of their own employees within their business function. And then the last one is really just those co-working spaces. Here where I sit, we have a lot of WeWork spaces. There's also a lot of other name brands that are out there that they sell temporary office space or shared workspace abilities, so that way you can have employees walk in and out as they choose, to be able to sit in a public area, have Wi-Fi, have areas to jump on a call, and really just get out of the house without having to invest hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in their own private office space with a certain number of square footage. So certainly something that's going to continue to spread and grow. If I had stock in WeWork, I probably would have gotten some a long time ago, because I'm sure they're going to continue to rise as of this pandemic, as it opens back up. But you never know. It's definitely something that we're looking at, and it's going to continue to evolve. And with that, we talked a little bit about the trends, talked a little bit about what's going on, what we're seeing in our market. I'm going to pass it back to Vanessa to talk about a couple of use cases that would be relevant to you on the call today.
So I think this first use case does not really demonstrate. As a matter of fact, Nick, it talks about a supermarket where you would not actually have remote workers. So, but for the sake of those who may need this type of service, I'm going to talk about it anyway. But I thought it funny that you mentioned that. So the first use case is a retail supermarket chain that has over 16 locations. And this case, this company was dealing with a local cable company. They had all different types of phone systems, analog lines, and I believe DSL. So when we drove up to try to work with them, we actually presented Broadvoice hosted services for all of the locations so that they could actually become more centralized as opposed to separate. As they purchased new locations, they brought on they brought on the existing phone system and everything else that they had. So as a staff member moved from one store to the next, using the phone system, learning how to page or transfer a call, it was all different. All systems were different. All of their support and all of their vendor support was all different for most of the stores. They may have had 4 or 5 vendors providing their services, and no one knew who to call. So what we did, we actually brought Broadvoice in, provided hosted services at all of the stores, centralized everything for them so that they appeared internally as one large organization, so that they could dial extension to extension, internal calls, made their operations a lot more smoother simply because a customer calls in, they've got the wrong store. So they, in the past, they would have to actually give the caller a number, hang up, and have the caller dial the store. Once we migrated all of their services to Broadvoice, they were able to actually transfer the call from store to store, which was a valuable time saver for them. They were able to actually create greetings for holidays, things like that on the fly, very flexible, very scalable. As they brought up new stores, it was very easy because all we had to do was duplicate the services that we had implemented in each store. So it was also consolidated billing for them, one number to call for support for them, which was very different. So, and we've been working with them for years, and they're very comfortable with us. We are very comfortable with them. We understand their environment. So they can focus on running their business, and we can focus on making sure all of their voice over IP, internet, all of their telecommunication services are running smoothly. And we do that with the assistance of Broadvoice. For us and for our clients, support is everything. And we partner with Broadvoice simply because we can reach them and for support 24/7. And I do have CAP's cell number. So when needed, we do support them. And we can move to the next slide. For this particular client is a nonprofit agency with employees that are working. They started off during the pandemic, everyone working remotely. And the urgent call that we received was, can we all go home to work, and how are we going to receive our phone calls? And of course, this is another customer that we migrated to Broadvoice, their hosted voice VoIP solution. So what we did was we actually program their phones, and they could take their phones home because they were not going to be working in the office at the start of the pandemic. So they all took their phones home, plugged them in, and continued to work. Those that did not want to take a phone, we provided mobile apps for them, and we can talk about that later as well as a form of failover redundancy. But we set them all up at home, and from the outside world's perspective, they all looked like one organization. You couldn't tell where the person was sitting when you call inbound. So their system functioned just as it functioned in the office while they were remote. So they were able to continue to do business, able to take their calls, and when they made outbound calls or return calls, the business numbers showed just as if they were in the office. The mobile apps for users, and that is something that is standard with this service, and it mimics or duplicates the services on your desk phone. It's also used as a form of failover, but for those who were mobile and weren't tethered to their desk or in the office or at home, they could take their phone with them wherever they went. There's a mobile app that mimics your extension. So when they were mobile, they could still receive their calls and make calls from their mobile app and not have to produce or show their cell number as they had in the past. It outpulsed the number of the business, which really was a nice feature, and made them even more interested in utilizing the mobile app for some remote workers. So And so it allowed the callers to again be mobile, to be in the office. And now they're actually moving to a more hybrid situation. So some of them are in the office and some of them are going to continue to work remotely. And they are utilizing the features, the hotel features, or the hot desking features that Nick talked about. So it becomes even a cost-effective solution for them. And this next and last case for us is a construction and building management organization. They're headquartered in the Cleveland area with remote offices in Florida and New Jersey. They have over 70 users in Ohio and multiple users in Florida and New Jersey. So the customer wanted to have the ability to integrate all sites, or as they brought them up in different states, and to appear again as one organization to all external callers. So the solution was also required to be easy to manage and set up new users regardless of their location, wherever they were located. It needed to be scalable, it needed to be flexible, it needed to provide seamless integration into the existing system. So and also for the younger users who actually don't want anything to do with a desk phone. They do everything from their mobile phones. So we set those users up again on the mobile apps, which actually again duplicated what their handset or their extension would do. So they didn't actually need a handset in some of the locations. They were utilizing the mobile app. Wonderful application, does the same thing as the desk phone. It just allows you to actually become more mobile and not have to be tethered to a desk. So the changes that were needed on the fly, we were able to make. There was no time or no need to call a phone vendor to come in and move, as in the old days. We need to move an extension. What do we do? So you just pick up the phone, you move it, and you plug it in, and it works the same. So there was no need for a truck roll from a vendor who was managing their on-premise system. Very easy, very flexible, very scalable, and allowed the business to pivot when it was time to pivot. So it actually created a very positive customer experience for them. They're actually adding on more users because of the ease. We configure everything for the client, and there's no need, if the customer's in another state, everything's configured. We ship the phone out, they take it out of the box, they plug it up, and they're part of the organization. Extension to extension dialing. Again, everyone can manage their own voicemail. There's voicemail to email, which also allows them to actually manage their calls on the go as well. We're all using our cell phones to manage our email. So the voicemails can land as a WAV file in that as well. So whatever the needs of the business is, we are able to actually customize a solution that's going to fit that business need. Again, as I said earlier, all businesses are different. We don't take a cookie cutter approach to any of our clients. We're customizing based on the needs of that business. And so when you end up with 10 or I don't know, 5 or 6 different bills and you don't know who to call, as our customers migrate over to our services, there's consolidated billing. There's one number to call for support. And again, even if we don't support that service, we're gonna find out how we can help our client. So they make, and then we'll actually take care of supporting that client, where the client is able to actually focus on running their business on what they do best. And again, partnering with Broadvoice has allowed us to do that. And we have full confidence in our partnership with them. These are some of the testimonials of the clients that we service across the greater Cleveland area. You can read them. There's Circle Health Services, North Coast Community Homes, PCS Companies Downtown, Pratt & Whitney, which is a global company. They make engines for airplanes, and we service them across the country and other states outside of Ohio. And I guess that would open it up to Q&A.
Thank you very much.
First one. What is the future of hosted voice over IP?
Vanessa, do you mind if I take this?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
please.
please.
Take it, Alan.
Okay, so I kind of lean back towards what the industry was like 20 years ago, and people were kind of leery of it because you're dealing all across the internet and what's the stability of it. But to let you know, the on-premise systems are really looked at as a dinosaur now. I think Vanessa can tell you that even POTS lines are very hard to get a hold of, or they've become very expensive. It was forecasted for this year, well, last year, to be a $46 billion industry, and now in 2024, which because of the pandemic, I think it's going to even explode into about a $150 billion industry. So just like the cell phone industry, you're going to see the big changes coming, and I think you're already seeing the fact that you can be reached anywhere in the hosted world. You're eliminating maintenance agreements. You're eliminating who's going to come out and take care of the system. The moves, adds, or changes are done relatively quickly. So the future for me is that I just see that this is the industry. This is the next thing coming, and it's already here. It's no longer in its toddler stage. I think it's in its teen to young adult stage now.
Next question from Wayne. What happens to my services when the internet goes down if I am using hosted VoIP?
I can take that one.
Okay, Nick.
So basically what happens is a couple things. When you work with companies like OneView and Broadvoice, your desk phones may go down when your internet connection goes down. And that's what the beauty of the mobile app comes into place, because our systems will notice that the hardware has gone down, and it will make sure, and it's doing this all the time anyways, but it will make sure that it routes the calls to your mobile app. And so when you do get a phone call, as long as you have the mobile app on your phone, it'll not only ring your desk phone, it'll ring your mobile app at the exact same time. So if your phone was to go down on the desk, you'd still have access to utilize that phone number to get in, to make and receive those phone calls from your mobile phone.
I'm going to piggyback on top of that too, because the auto attendants are in play, and even if you don't get the call onto your mobile app because you were busy, it's still going to show up in your voicemail, which you can receive off of your mobile app anyways.
Good. Next question. Will my calls sound choppy, and how do we have clear call quality?
Yeah, I'll take that. With the services that are provided, there is, we also provide an on-premise device that actually takes care of the call quality, the QoS, the quality of service. So, but prior to that, we're gonna perform a site survey, and we're also going to actually assess your internet connection in your place of business. That internet connection will have to be sufficient, or will offer enough bandwidth that will allow for decent calls for the number of users that you have. So we'll assess all of those things along with providing a device that actually manages the traffic, the call traffic and the internet traffic, so that you have actually very good call quality when the service is installed.
Excellent. Next question. How would I know if my business is a good fit for the service?
Well,
Can I, Vanessa,
sure.
do you want? All right.
No,
So
go ahead.
we have vertical markets, and we have regular markets as well. Auto dealerships, schools, healthcare, lawyers, great vertical markets to be in. But look at your own business. Let's say you're just and the simplest thing is a one-person shop. Why would you not look at the hosted VoIP world as opposed to going out and putting a premise-based one phone sitting on your desk at home and having it plug into a POTS line. So really, it let Vanessa's group look at it and say to you, hey, this is a good fit. It's just that, and I tell people, why are you using a cell phone? You're in this same arena now that you want to be connected. So when I walk out the door here, my phone, okay, my phone will ring into my automobile. It'll ring into my office. And if I go to my California location, I can walk over to a phone and hot desk that phone and it'll light up as my own. So hopefully that answers it.
Very good. So here's an important one. Can I keep my phone numbers if I switch to the hosted service?
Yes, and the beauty in that is even if you move across town, you can carry your phone numbers. If you move to a different state, you can carry your own phone numbers, which was not the case in the past. You couldn't cross ladders. If you were in Euclid, you couldn't move your numbers to Beechwood and etc. So today with the hosted VoIP service, you are able to keep all of your phone numbers no matter where or what central office they originated from. So yes, nothing would change.
Perfect. How about using headsets with the service?
Yes,
That's a yes.
absolutely.
And let's see, someone's typing. I have hosted service today. Can I keep my existing phone?
I'll take that one. And if you want to piggyback, Nick, feel free. But I kind of want to take the opportunity to say that no. I mean, you could keep your phones, but it would, it's so much easier for us to configure a phone. And for everyone who can hear this presentation, this webinar, there is a special offer that will actually alleviate the need to keep or desire to keep your phones. And Nick, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. You beat me to it. So yeah, that brings up our special promotion, courtesy of working with Broadvoice and OneView Communications. If you are in fact interested in talking more about your hosted voice solution, among any of your technology questions that you may have within your organization, if you decide that hosted voice is for you, whether you've got an existing hosted voice or you're looking to jump into it head first as your first system, if you do close with Broadvoice and OneView before August 31st, we will provide you as the customer with one new Polycom, whichever brand you may recognize, they're the same, 50 series desk phone, free of charge for every Beehive UCAS standard or pro seat user. Uh-oh, I see a typo. So basically for every seat that you have deployed with Broadvoice, you would get a free rental phone. We guarantee that phone under warranty under the life of the contract. We do have 3 options, a VVX 250, a 350, and a 450. So we'll look at your organization, your business, and we'll right size the phone for you based on the needs. And like I said, that is good from now, from the date of this call, up until August 31st. We're very excited about it. And other discounts may apply, so certainly reach out to Vanessa and Julie, Cap and myself. We're always happy to have a discussion with you, understand your current business, understand where you're at and where you're looking to be, and we'll do everything in our power to help you out.
I'm just waiting to see if we have any more questions coming in. In the meantime, is there the best way to contact you?
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
There we go.
There you are.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll see. Doesn't look like we have any more questions. So with that, do you have any closing comments?
I'll let you go ahead, Vanessa, ladies first.
Well, yes. If anyone has any more questions, or if you're just interested in wanting to see if this is going to be a good fit for your business, we would be more than happy to sit down and talk about your business goals and talk about your business needs. So, and also to take a look at your infrastructure to see if this is going to be accommodating for a hosted service. or just any questions about technology, we're willing to have those conversations with you. So please feel free, and no question is actually silly or unimportant. They're all important if you want to know, because a lot of times what we don't have is someone to ask questions about the technology. And we'll give you a straight answer. OneView was actually started to be a customer advocate because it's such a maze to actually navigate through the telecommunications system. So we're here to help you. So please feel free to give us a call.
Excellent.
Thank you. Just one last thing on my side, on behalf of Broadvoice and OneView, we thank all of you for joining the call. Thank you for the time. We're really looking forward to having some future conversations with you. And of course, a big thanks to everybody at GCP that allowed us to be on this webinar and allowed us to just take some time. And so we're really excited and looking forward to having some conversations in the future. Please reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you to Vanessa, Julie, Nick, for sharing so much great information and insight today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
In today's
Thank you
webinar.
all.
Hope you found this webinar engaging and informative. If you have any thoughts to share, please let us know. With that, that concludes our session for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.